and girls, it's Mrs. Rojas. Welcome, and I'm thanking you for tuning in to Mrs. Rojas e-learning, okay? So today, boys and girls, I'm going to be recording day 5 and day 6, okay? For your lesson on reading. So if you have your packet, go ahead and get it ready. You are going to need maybe a crayon or a pencil or a highlighter if you have it handy. If not, it's okay, no worries. Just follow with your finger and then we'll get through this together, okay? I'll tell you in case you need materials, you don't have it, it's okay. I'll show you a different way, okay? All right, so make sure you're looking at cycle 12, comprehension, main idea. Okay, for day 1, boys and girls, we're going to end up reading this story. So go ahead and take it out of your packet. You can kind of go fold it, and if it's stapled, and that way you can get to police officers. This is page 5 and page 6, which is the continued. So we have 5 paragraphs here, okay? So my boys and girls already know strategy. So if you're ready, go ahead and start doing your strategies, okay? All right, so I'm going to move on and get started with that while you're doing that. And looking through the pictures, your titles, that's the first thing we're going to look at is our title. What does the title say? Police officers. Based off of the title, boys and girls, do you think this title might be a fiction or a non-fiction piece? Okay, take a minute to kind of think about that. Okay. And in order for us to find out, of course, we're going to need to read, okay? So once we get into reading the story, then we'll be able to figure that out and make more sense of it. You can also look at your pictures, okay? We have 2 pictures here. And there's also some interesting things going on in our paragraphs as well. You're noticing some words that are a little bit bolded, right? A little bit darker. So we're going to make reference to some of those words to help us build on our vocabulary, which is always a good thing, okay? All right, so looking at your pictures, make your observations. You can start making your notes on the side and tell me a little bit about what you see, right? Because in these pictures, we have no captions. The captions are what's telling us about what the picture is about, right? So in this case, make your own caption. Write it down if you need to, okay? All right, so we're gonna move on, boys and girls. I'm going to read the first paragraph, okay? I'm going to read it out loud. This is modeling a little bit of fluency, okay? So this is something you'll be able to practice. Once we're done working on the day 1, you can always go back and reread the story. Keep these passages. This will help you build on your fluency, okay? You'll become better readers as well, okay? But you're also making sense of what the story is, and this is what we're going to talk about today, okay? And this is, hopefully this will help you, okay? You're gonna stop and ask questions. I'm going to be asking you questions. You're going to have the opportunity to read, and then I'll be asking you questions about each of those paragraphs. So make sure you're paying attention and understanding that, okay? All right, boys and girls. So I'm going to begin, okay? And then we'll go back and ask questions as well, okay? All right, let's look. It says, you may have seen police officers racing by with their lights flashing and sirens blaring. Bolded word right here. Warning everyone to get out of the way. Your breath catches in your throat and your heart races as you wonder what could be going on. One thing that might be going through your mind is that they are chasing bad guys. But that is only one part of their job. Okay, go ahead and stop right there, boys and girls. So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to go back and look at that first sentence, okay? So it says, you may have seen police officers racing by with their lights flashing and sirens blaring, warning everyone to get out of the way, okay? Go ahead and box in, or if you have a highlighter or a marker, go ahead and box in that word blaring. That's very important, okay? So this one's making reference to a vocabulary meaning, right? Okay, typically we would underline the sentence with that word, the sentence before, and the sentence after, okay? But in this case, that's fine with just boxing it in because we're going to make reference to that word, okay? I know that I've seen police officers racing by, right? And typically we'll see that with the flashing lights when we know that they're getting ready to go to an emergency, right? So that kind of gives us a warning to maybe move out of the way, right? So when we're hearing the siren warns, right, that there's the emergency coming, that's referring to what? That's referring to that word, meaning blaring. So blaring makes reference to what meaning? That means that it is loud. So if you define that on your own words, blaring means loud. So I'm going to just make note of it on the side. That way I know that that's what that means, okay? Now, boys and girls, there's some other things that I noticed about this paragraph, okay? You might have noticed it as well, okay? There are some things in there that sound a little different, right? This is what we call some phrases, okay? For example, and you can underline it as well. They said here, your breath catches in your throat. Like your breath, what you're breathing is in your throat, okay? There's a saying to that. That is an actual saying. It's a phrase. We call those idioms, okay? Which are phrases that really don't mean exactly what they say, okay? Like catching your breath, you really can't catch it, right? Like you catching a ball, right? It's a little different. It's just a saying. It's an idiom, okay? So that means kind of like they're catching. It says your breath catches in your throat and your heart races as you wonder what could be going on. You kind of are nervous. It might be like a nerve. Might be something that might scare you, okay? Or maybe you're excited, like, right? And you really just can't breathe it out, right? So that's just an idiom. It catches in your throat. Another idiom here, if you notice, it says heart races. Your heart races. So like your heart is running a race? Is that what that means there? No. Okay, it really doesn't mean exactly the way it is there. It's another idiom. That means that your heart begins to what? Begins to throb fast, right? It's moving, it's pounding, okay? So that's another meaning for that idiom, okay? All right. And let's continue. We're going to move on, boys and girls, to paragraph 2, okay? And I'm following this just in case your parents would like to just follow along. That's fine. If not, this is what I'm actually teaching you, okay? So we're going to read paragraph 2. So I'm going to give you a minute or two to go ahead and review that. And then I'm going to come back and ask you some questions. So make sure you're reading. All right, boys and girls, make sure that you read paragraph 2, okay? I have a question for you before I actually read it with you, okay? My question to you is, and this is something I want you to think about. What are 2 things that police officers do as part of their job, okay? And that's on paragraph 2, the one that you just read, okay? So I'm going to read it, and then we're going to check by me showing to see if you got that correct, okay? So it says, police officers do many things to help the community. Make sure you're tracking. One of the ways that police officers work for the community is by being a helper to children. If you get lost, police officers can help you find your way back home. You can help them by knowing your address. Very important, you need to know where you live. Your phone number, that's another one. And your parents' names, your first and last names, right? If your bike gets stolen, a police officer would try to help you find it. The police officers would ask you questions about your bike so that they know what to look for when they are searching for the clues that tell them what happened to your bike, right? So you need to know some information. All right, boys and girls, so let's see. The question was, what are 2 things that police officers do as part of their job? All right, so I'm going to use my highlighter just so you could be able to see. If you marked it with your pencil, awesome. Check mark it if you got this one correct. Are you ready? All right, so what are 2 things that police officers do as part of their job? One thing is, they say that they help the community. That's one, right? This one had several. Another one was they're being a helper to the children. And this is how they're being a helper to the children. This is in case you get lost, right? That's how they're helping, right? They might help you find your way back home, right? If you're lost, okay? They can maybe help you find, right, what might have been stolen. If something gets stolen, that's another thing that they can do, okay? So if you got some of those in there, remember you only asked for 2, check mark it. You're good. All right, I'm going to give you time now, boys and girls, making sure that you go to number 3. Go ahead and read it on your own, and we'll be back. Okay, boys and girls, we're back now. I hope you read paragraph 3. Okay, now these are my questions for paragraph 3. Let's see if you got these. Okay, so for the question was, what is another way that police officers help the community? Okay, so make sure you're scanning and looking for that, how they help the community. And I want you to make sure that you go back and mark it, okay? All right? You ready? I'm going to read it and start thinking about that answer. Police officers also help the community by being the first to respond when there is a car accident. They arrive soon after the 911 call goes through and assess the situation to determine what needs to be done first. Make sure you're tracking. They not only try to help they not only try to get help for anyone who is injured in the accident, but they also use the lights on their police cars to warn others of the accident to help keep everyone safe. Sorry, I stumbled there for a little bit, but just go back and read that sentence, okay? All right. So now my question was, what is another way that police officers help the community? Okay, again, marking your answer. You're going to check yours with mine, okay? All right, if you got it correct, put a check mark, okay? All right, so one way that they help the community, let's go back. Police officers also help the community by being the first to respond when there is a car accident, guys, right? We need those officers. They're there to help, okay? And those are in certain situations, okay? Let's see. They assess, they determine who needs to be done first. They not only try to get help for anyone who is injured. You think that might be another one? Yeah, they get help for anyone who is injured in the accident, okay? Boys and girls, they also use the lights on their police cars to warn others of the accident to help keep everyone safe. That's another thing they do for us, right? They kind of give us a warning, right? Remember those blaring lights? Okay, they're warning us. Okay. All right, now what you're going to do is go ahead and go to paragraph 4, read it on your own, and then I'll be asking you a question about what you just read, and we'll be back, okay? Okay, boys and girls, so now let's go back really quick and look at assess on paragraph 3. We forgot to do that vocabulary, right? Remember, because some of those words are in bold, and make sure that you box it in so that way we can make meaning, and let's write the meaning. So assess, what does that mean? So let's read the sentence. They arrive soon after the 911 call goes through and assess the situation to determine what needs to be done first, right? Okay, boys and girls, so that's what it says. So I think they need kind of like a plan, right? They're kind of making a plan. They're trying to figure out what happened. They're assessing the situation, right? They need to know what needs to be done first. So then they look at all the pieces of information. So that is what assess means, is to look, right, at information. And I'm going to abbreviate it, look at info, just so that way you can have room in there as well. Okay, now that you did read paragraph 4, I gave you time. My question for paragraph 4, and then I'll go and read it. It says, how do police officers make sure people obey laws? So that's something you should have read in there, okay? How do they make sure people obey the laws? We have to obey the laws, right? With everything that's going on, we need to make sure we follow that and make us good citizens. Okay, 4. Another part of a police officer's job is to make sure people obey the laws. Laws are rules that people must follow. When someone breaks a law, the police officer writes a ticket or makes an arrest, which often leads to the person going to jail. If a person gets a ticket, which we don't want, it sometimes means that they have to pay a fine. Yikes, right? They're paying for something for breaking the law. All right, so my question, make sure you underline, highlighted, marked it with the crayon, okay? Or pointed to it. So let's check if you got yours correct. Remember, check mark it if you got it. So how do police officers make sure that people obey the laws? Well, boys and girls, this is what we don't want. When someone breaks the law, the police officer writes a ticket or makes an arrest, right? So that's one way, right? So yeah, we don't want that. So if you got that, go ahead and write that in there too, okay? All right, let's look at these two words, boys and girls, that are in bold in that paragraph. We have the word arrest, so box that in. And we also have the word fine in there, okay? Let's make sense of the word arrest, okay? So let's see. We're using context clues in here, right? So it says that when a police officer makes an arrest, it often leads to the person going to jail. So an arrest might mean what? That the police officer takes the person to jail, right? So it's already telling you in that text. Okay, now let's go to fine, okay? So then for fine, if they have to pay, so it's already giving you the meaning here. If they have to pay the fine, right? Then you know that they have to pay money, right? When they have to pay something, they have to pay money. So fine means the same as pay. All right, good job. Take some time, boys and girls. Go ahead and read paragraph 5. And I do have a question. I'll give you the question. And it says, what do police officers do in dangerous situations? I'll get back to you. Take time, read paragraph 5. Okay, I hope you understood paragraph 5 and my question. I'm going to read it and then go back to the question. In dangerous situations, police officers use special skills to protect themselves and those around them. Police officers work hard to keep us safe in our communities, right? They do. All right, boys and girls. So my question was, what do police officers do in dangerous situations? So go ahead and check. All right. And it's already telling you part of the question is in there. Dangerous situations, police officers use special skills to protect themselves and those around them. So they're using skills, they're using what they were trained for, right? Yeah, they had to go through some training to be able to provide those skills and do their job, right, as officers, all right? So special skills. All right, boys and girls. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to find the main idea of the paragraph. The main idea we know, it's what it's mostly about, okay? Other sentences, they're kind of just giving us like details that support that main idea, okay? All right, you need to ask yourself, what is this paragraph about, right, when we're doing this? And how can I say it in just a few words, okay? Typically, you might find the main idea, maybe, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes you'll find it in the beginning of a sentence or maybe at the end of a sentence, right, in your paragraph, all right? But not always. But we're trying to piece all of those together to find the one main idea of the whole passage, okay? All right, so we'll go do that, and then we'll come right back in a little bit. Hi, boys and girls. This is going to be day 6, okay? So if you already did my first lesson, part of it, that was day 5, okay? You could stop there. For the next day, this is my day 6, okay? It's all together in one video, okay? So for day 6, it's lesson page 3, okay? And we're working with the rest of the pages left in our packet, okay? We're still going to go back to this one for this day, so make sure that you don't get rid of it. Make sure you have it near you as well, okay? All right, so for my day 6, boys and girls, we're going to play a game, okay? You're going to play the game at home, and you have these 3 pages, page 7, 8, and 9. These are a game. What you can do is if you have Ziploc bags, you can actually cut these out and put them in one bag. This is another bag, another bag, another bag, and so on, okay? Another bag and another bag. And they're by set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that means like you have 6 different little games, activities to do, okay? It'll be fun. So that's something you can play together as a family, right? Okay, so let's look at the first page right here, okay? This is going to be finding the main idea. You need to find the main idea. It's not giving it to you this time. That was like a few days ago, right? It gave you main ideas. You had to choose between 2. For this one, these are your details. Now you need to figure out what the main idea about these details are, okay? We're gonna practice with these 2. and then you'll be able to play the rest on your own, okay? So I'm not going to cut them out. I'm just going to put them up here so you could see, okay? So make sure you're looking on page 7. If you cut them out, perfect. If you don't have scissors, don't worry about it. Just leave it like that, okay? And then you can figure out. I did mark with the highlighter because that is where I would write down like what my main idea is. If you have a sheet of paper, you can write it down on the paper, your main idea, and just put it inside the Ziploc bag if you did cut them out, okay? That's just an idea. All right, so this game, boys and girls, these are your details, okay? All of the details work together to point you to the main idea. Now let's practice finding the main idea using these, okay? All right, so if I say it has cheese, it has bread, it has a pan, stovetop, a spatula, like those flat spoons, and butter. Usually, what is that talking about? What is the main idea of that one? I think because you need a pan, you need a spatula, you're using bread, and then you're putting cheese, and then butter on your pan, and you're using a stove. What do you think they're doing here? Main idea is making a grilled cheese sandwich, right? Sorry, it's a little hard to write on the top. Okay, so making a grilled cheese sandwich. Ding, ding, ding. We got that as our main idea for these details, okay? Let's try it with set 2. Before I answer, I want you to try to answer what you think the main idea is. Pajamas, pillow, toothbrush, bed, a book, and a nightlight. What is the main idea for those details? Think about it. If you said it's bedtime, then you got that correct. Okay? All right, so for your next few pages, page 8, set 3, 4, page 9, set 5, and 6, you can play those on your own. At a later time, after I'm done with the video, you can play those games with your family, okay? So set those to the side. All right, I hope you have fun with those. Okay, answer keys are here on page 3. Don't look at them, first try, okay? All right, so now, boys and girls, we're gonna go back to our passage, okay? Remember I told you not to get rid of that passage? We're going to reuse it because now we're going to come up with the main idea for each paragraph, and then we're going to come up with the main idea of the whole passage, and then you're going to do one on your own at the end. That one's going to be your independent practice, which is page 10. You'll do that at the end of our video, okay? All by yourself with a little bit of help, but you've already learned it because we've been covering that. All right, so let's go back to paragraph 1 really quick, boys and girls, okay? So I'm going to read paragraph 1, and then we're going to decide on the main idea for that section. You may have seen police officers racing by, using their flashing lights and sirens blaring, warning everyone to get out of the way. Your breath catches in your throat and your heart races as you wonder what could be going on. One thing that might be going through your mind is that they are chasing bad guys, but that is only one part of their job. So what do you think they might be the main idea of that selection is? There's a lot of details that we kind of identified already, right? But what is the main idea of that section? Yeah, if you did say police officers have many parts of their job, you're correct. So I'm going to kind of bracket these like this, and I'm going to make little notes right here, okay? That is something you can do. If you do not have room, what you can do is you can use page 11, and you can make that for your notes, okay? You can write P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. That means paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? And then you can write down your main idea there instead of the side, okay? That's just another way. All right, so I would write here, police officers have many parts to their job. So that's already main idea to that. Okay, paragraph 2. Police officers do many things to help the community. Right away, guys. There's hints there. One of the ways that police officers work for the community is by being a helper to children. If you get lost, police officers can help you find your way back home. You can help them by knowing your address, phone number, and your parents' name. If your bike gets stolen, a police officer would try to help you find it. The police officers would ask you questions about your bike so that they know what to look for when they are searching for the clues that tell them what happened to your bike. So right away, guys, bracket. We're going to get the main idea. What was it mainly telling you about? If you said police officers help in their community, you got it. So police officers help community. Because that's pretty much what we highlighted here, right? All right, paragraph 3. We highlighted. I'm not going to read it all. This time I'm only going to read what I highlighted because those are our details. What can we make sense of that? That's why this game helped you, right, with those. Okay, being the first to respond when there is a car accident. They get help for anyone who is injured in the accident. They use lights to warn others about, to keep everyone safe. So once again, boys and girls, if you said police officers helping community, again, this kind of could go together, right? Police officers help community. Because that's what they're doing. They're there to help everybody in the community. All right, paragraph 4. When someone breaks a law, the police officer writes a ticket or makes an arrest. Oh, we said here they pay a fine. So what do you think the main idea to those details are? You said, make sure people obey the law. You are right. Make sure people obey the law. Okay, you can also make that a little shorter. You can just write obey law or help community. Help community. Right here, many parts to job. Okay, you can shorten that. All right, for paragraph 5, dangerous situations. Police officers use special skills to protect themselves and those around us. So what are they doing there? What's the main idea with those details? Well, if you said that they are keeping us safe, you got it. Okay, so then they keep us safe. Okay, those are the main ideas for each of the sections. Now, boys and girls, I'm going to challenge you. I want you to think about what the main idea of this whole selection of our passage is about. Okay, take a little bit of time. Once you get it, go ahead and write it down here. Go ahead and write MI for main idea, and we'll be back to see if you got it correct. Okay, boys and girls, now that you piece together all of these main ideas, the overall would be what about your passage? If you put a police officer, and that's part of our title, officer's job is to help in the community and keep us safe. Oh, going past that a little, it's an F. So if you got that as your main idea, you got it right. All right, boys and girls. Now, the last thing, boys and girls, this is going to end it all. You are going to do Bears, page 10, as your independent practice and see what you've learned. You're going to read the stories just like we did. You can identify some details and write your main idea just like I would bracket on the sides, and you did too. Okay, making sure that you do that and that you write your main idea for each. Then write your main idea completely just like we did here at the bottom line. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps. Please keep safe and tune in to your math video, which I'll be posting in a bit. Bye.